And good afternoon. I was going to say good morning again, but it's not, is it? We're well in the afternoon here in the UK. Good afternoon, everybody. Don't forget if you've got any comments or any questions or anything, we're both on podcast and also on the radio. So go to www.crossroads.co.uk and we'll be on there too. So please contact us on there if it's any questions or anything you need to know. Anyway, we have got David Charlton. David, how are you?
I'm pretty good, yeah, thanks. Thank you for inviting me onto the show, Steve.
Yeah, I want to talk about today about mental toughness. Now, you kind of you're into physical, you're into kind of like fitness and everything, but also you're into mental toughness. Can you explain to people about what that is?
Yeah, so mental toughness. I would say it's misunderstood by a lot of people. A lot of people they see the word toughness, and they just expect, the whole sort of man up culture. If you're struggling, then just get your head down and keep working away. The thing about being committed, they see it as like a macho trait. Females, women can't be mentally tough. That's a lot of rubbish. Trying to think if there's anything else along that line, but I can't think of any other myths off the top of my head. Maybe the other one would be, actually one more would be, mental weakness is on the opposite extreme to mental toughness, which certainly in my podcast, Demystifying Mental Toughness, I try to get across that message that it is, that's not the case. So yeah, I work as a sports psychologist now, and I work with different athletes and teams, as well as working with different business professionals. And as far as I'm concerned, like, mental toughness it's more, in some ways, it's a little bit like mental agility and mental flexibility, in that, you might set goals for yourself, and they might just be like something very simple, really, where, to have breakfast in the morning, to get to bed at a decent time at night. You've got I suppose the mentally tough person's unlikely to be too distracted by noise or different challenges that occur in people's lives, so they're not likely to veer off track so much.
Yeah.
When it comes down to like challenges, setbacks, problems, in people's lives, that's inevitable. The mentally tough person would be better able to cope with those sort of challenges.
Yeah.
It's
like any athlete, if they're preparing like for the Olympic Games, say, and all of a sudden, a family member dies or or comes ill, that athlete, will have is thinking all the time in their mind, about either the loss of what's happened, but they really got to be mentally kind of right to do that race, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the crossovers between performance and well-being or mental health are huge. It's the one thing I've always been curious about, and I've experienced myself, because I play golf to a reasonably high level. I'm play off a 2 handicap as an amateur, and I lost my wife to cancer in 2008, and yeah, I wasn't in a very good headspace for a good year or so, probably longer, in all honesty. And the last thing I wanted to do was play golf. I just wanted to throw my clubs in the river. But I played the tournament, which at the time was important to me, in 2010. And like a lot of sports people, it's amazing how when you're going through a difficult time, how because you're going through a difficult time, you're able to like treat the sport as if it's not such a big event. And I mean, I won this big tournament. And I don't often see that if someone dies or there's a relationship problem. Certainly, it can happen quite in the initial bit when they're in shock. But then it's then the getting through the things after that.
But also it can kind of like, also it can spoil the performance, so can it really? Because you're thinking about the person, or the or the situation, and you're in an Olympic race, say, or whatever, or in your case playing golf, and golf is supposed to be mentally about relaxing and thinking about the next stroke and everything. But I'm not a golfer, but all I can say is this, that sometimes when things are going wrong in our life, especially, and when things are on our plate and everything, all we are concerned about really is either winning that tournament, say, or whatever. But when we got these blockages on us, that can mentally affect us, can it?
Oh, well, yeah, hugely. I suppose a good example at the moment would be how the whole furore in sport, the week before last, with Naomi Osaka. Clearly, there's something going on in her life where her mental health isn't I suppose in the most positive at the moment. And yeah, she pulled out of the French Open, for anybody who wasn't aware, because she was told she had to do interviews which were going to just tip that balance. Where was it going with that? So yeah, I mean, definitely. I know from my perspective, there was, and from different people I've worked with, where you're on a golf course, a cricket pitch, wherever it is, and you've got lots of time to think, and yeah, you're just running through lots of different scenarios in your head about what's going on personally, and it's there's no way you can perform at your best. But then, like I say, on some days it doesn't work that way, and it works the opposite way, and sport helps you. But I would say those moments are very minimal, really.
Yeah. We I remember I went down to Somaliland in Cornwall. It's not very far where I live, and I went down for a celebrity golf match a while back, and when I was down there, I was roped into playing the game, and I ain't got a clue about golf, right? And my dad had a stroke and everything, and all I was thinking about, really, I don't want to be here. I just want to kind of like, I just don't want to be here. I'm thinking about my dad mentally. I wasn't right in the right frame of mind, and it's like proper athletes, especially footballers, say, when they're not in a proper frame of mind, their ability to perform and to be the best they can be, right, is, it's kind of, it can be really, really bad and serious, can it?
Oh, hugely. I mean, if you're standing over we'll go with a golf shot, or it could be a penalty kick in football, and you've got to go through a certain process routine to be able to hit the shot where you want to. If your mind's elsewhere and there's a lot going on cognitively with your thoughts, there's only so much you can do and concentrate on. So it's very difficult. And then I think a lot of people, certainly in sport, and I mean this is true for life as well, a lot of people are quite self-critical of themselves. And if they're experiencing these bad thoughts or difficult thoughts, then it just adds to that self-criticism and where they berate themselves. So the lesson there is like trying to be kind to yourself is hugely important, and it'll overlap with your health and performance.
So to your job. So when you kind of like when you're doing your job, tell us a typical day. You know what you do.
Ooh, typical day. It's changed so much in the last 15 months because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I mean, looking at my diary now, compared to 18 months ago, 15 months ago, the diary would have been, I would have been spending quite a bit of the time in the car, really traveling from place to place to meet people. But now, I've probably got a good 4 or 5 hours worth of video calls. So yeah, Zoom is my friend. And in those 4 to 5 hours with different people of video calls, I'll be looking at anything from some of the stuff we've talked about, the well-being side and how I can counsel people through difficult experiences. So it might be in a sporting context, the injured athlete who's out for 6 months, a year, and the knock-on effects that has on their life and future. Or from a performance angle, it could be more the person who's lost confidence because they've lost form, or they're just not performing up to the standards that they want to be. And I can't really, certainly in sport, I can't say, look, I'm a specialist in a specific sport, because like now I'm working in golf, football, rugby, horse riding, motorsport, cricket, across the board.
The trouble is, come on, let's kind of like, I think you put yourself down too much there, because you are a very good golfer, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a decent golfer. Yeah, but
you're not decent. You're really good. I reckon you should be a professional.
But you can actually turn professional as a coach anyway at that standard. So yeah, I could. What I'm saying is the I work across a range of sports rather than being specifically on one. And the crossovers are very much the same challenges.
Yeah.
And then, I've worked with people, like I would say business professionals, and be it entrepreneurial people to the somebody high, like people high up in the police force. And again, the overlaps are still the same, because we all, what was it? I think 85% of our thoughts are negative. So really just trying to help people to stop putting so much pressure on themselves, reduce those expectations, or at least make them more manageable. Be kinder to yourself. Lots of little things that I'll do in both the business, professional world, or in sport.
In your coaching and what you do, are there anybody that, I know you're not allowed to tell me because it's confidential, and that's fair enough, but are there anybody who are really professional who you talk to?
Yeah. I mean, I will speak and work with the 10 years old is the youngest I'll go to, but all the way up to, elite international, Premier League football level. So yeah, complete mixed batch really, which I quite like that.
Right. So you, do you have anybody like professional on your books that you can tell us about?
Like you touched on it, you've got the whole privacy confidentiality bit, so I can't mention any names, no.
Okay, then. Okay.
So, yeah, nice try.
Okay. Are they footballers? Are they?
You got football, rugby, golf, those sort of sports, motorsport.
All right. Okay. Okay. So, when you do you think sometimes these footballers they have got kind of like, because you've got money and everything. Yeah. Do you think sometimes they're a bit too much of themselves? And because they've got the money, they think, oh, well, they can do what they want and not perform to their best ability for their club?
Ooh, this is a tough
Sorry,
one. The whole
sorry.
money side of things. So I think, well, you've got a couple of things in this, which a lot of people don't, I suppose, probably appreciate. So the financial aspect, yeah, it's going to be strange to some of these players because they might be brought up in a background where there's not actually a lot of money in the household, and then they get a lot of people who are what I suppose you class as hangers on, who are trying to get into their little circle and give them incorrect advice, and it's easy to go down that line and listen to it. You've also got the thing that in sport that certainly football especially, they do have an awful lot of time on their hands. So, if they're finished at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right, what we're going to do between now and, and through the evening. So, I suppose that's why you hear a lot about different professional footballers having like gambling addictions and problems like that. They can suffer with that. If we're going on to the well-being front and then thinking about performance, these environments are tough. Like the standards are like really, really high, and there can be a lot of like blame attached with all that, and a lot of criticism going on in clubs. And yeah, some players can deal with that. So a lot of players can't deal with it. And then if you chuck in social media to the mix, then that's not even considering what could be going on at home in their home lives and different things. So, these people are they're human beings after all. It is going to impact on their performance.
Yeah, but surely if they're getting paid by the taxpayers, say, and they are kind of like all the fans, they have the right to kind of say, right, okay, because you're being paid really good money, and you probably got a nice home, say they probably got a nice home and everything, okay, because they work for it. That footballer has got to perform at the best of their ability. Do you agree?
No. The reason
Don't agree. You don't agree. Why don't you agree? Because if someone was paying you around about £125,000 a week, right?
Yeah.
You are obliged by the football club when you sign that contract. You are obliged to play the best of your ability for that club, right?
Yeah, but I think what people have got to realize is though that these footballers, they don't choose how much they get paid. That's just part of the industry they're in. But B, it's more complex than just running onto a football pitch and trying hard. You often hear that bandied from fans that they just want to see their players, working hard. But there's so much to it. There's the dynamics amongst the team around the coaching and different factors I've talked about. And different players play for different reasons. Some play because they want to represent their country. Some play, some will play for the money, no doubt about it. So some play because they like learning new skills, but then they might be in an environment which isn't helping harness the right skills. So it's it's complex. Then you've got to throw in, some might be actually quite anxious. They might be having difficulties. So it has so yeah, ideally you want people to perform to their best, but it's not as simple as just running on the pitch and doing that.
Right. Okay. What football team do you support, by the way?
I'm black and white, Newcastle United.
Ah, right. Okay. Okay. I used to live up in Newcastle, by the way. I used to live up in Wallsend.
Yeah. Just it's not far away from the city centre. I'm
Yeah,
about
yeah,
20 minutes away from there.
yeah. I used to go on the metro every day and to North Shields. And,
Yeah,
um,
it's nice.
okay, we got some questions here from our radio site. Right, David. Hiya. Can you tell me more about what you do, and do you work on the performance of the athlete, or do you work on the counselling of the athlete?
Yeah, so I would say from the performance angle, what 80%, say yeah, 75, 80% of my work will be helping someone try and improve their performance or the consistency of their performance. 20, 25% will be more around the counselling, the well-being side. And I can't say, and this is where I think a lot of people get mixed up. They hear the word psychologist and they think that I would potentially be working on, depression, anxiety, eating disorders. As a sports psychologist, I'm not qualified to do that. So I'm at a lower level. I'm trying to help people like maintain positive mental health. If I can identify up to a point if somebody does have those type of problems, depression or I'm not going to say problems, challenges, depression, eating disorders, addictions, and then I would signpost that on to a clinical or a counselling psychologist.
Right. Okay. What else we got? Do you do any Newcastle players?
Like private. We're going with the confidentiality bit. I will not say.
Yeah, it's sorry, but yeah, guys, please do not kind of like as we said before. All our guests, we're not allowed to it's not allowed to say I don't even know nothing about it, and please keep it's confidential. So, um, I'm a runner. Okay, here we go. I am a runner. I do a lot of marathons each year. But the trouble is with me is that I've had a lot of problems in the past with my mental health. How can I get rid of how can I get rid of some of my mental health to make me a better person to achieve more in my running? There you go. That's a good question.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I suppose firstly I would say, well done on you, the marathon running, the endurance running. I've done 3 marathons myself, and I think from from that perspective, running, and this is the same for all sports I've touched on, people run for different reasons. I put a post actually on my social media about this last week because it was a global running day. And yeah, you might get people who run to improve, to get faster. They might be running away from a problem. They might be running for mental health reasons, all these sort of things. So I suppose I would be asking myself that question and trying to go quite deep with it to understand why you run. That would be one thing. Then in terms of the mental health side, I suppose it's probably the easy cop out answer in some ways, but just try and talk to someone about it and seek some support. You'll, as I say, a problem shared is a problem halved, and that might help you then see things from a different angle, and yeah, just which in turn might then have a nice knock-on effect on your running performance as well.
Yeah, good, good. Hi, Steve. Love your programs every week. Could you tell me more about David? I'm sure I saw him before on TV. Have you done TV?
I've been on Sky Sports once. Trying to. It was a golf event, and I was sat and interviewed. And I think I've been on the Sky Sports News channel once as well, which was just a very short piece. So I'm not a TV star by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay. Hi, Steve. Congratulations on your podcast doing well and the radio side of things. would it be possible if we can do more stuff of this? David's very interesting. We'd love to have him back again. Love all the questions. Yeah, we usually do invite people back. Yeah. Also, sorry, I'm just trying to look at all the questions here on the radio site. Here we go. Hi, David. Who is the most person you ever? Sorry, what? Right, okay. Have you ever met any professional golfers that you had to cancel, had to kind of like deal with? I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I suppose I can't see the question, but are they trying to say what have you worked for at a high level in professional
confidential golf? Again, confidentiality. Come on, guys, it's all confidentiality.
Yeah, I'm not going to give names away, but yeah, obviously,
At
high level.
Please don't mention any names, please. I David. I don't know what you've been speaking about. I've been playing rugby for a long time now. I play for Exeter. All right, okay, not very far from there. Would it be possible if you can tell me more about yourself if I contact you? Do you deal with rugby players on a one-to-one basis?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm working with a number of players, be it professional or amateur level. I've worked with rugby players probably for the best part of 7 or 8 years now. Typical challenges. I suppose I've mentioned a little bit earlier. I suppose it depends on the position, really. But if we're looking at a well-being angle in this, you might have players who are struggling for motivation and like trying to get their aggression and their state up so they can perform. Rugby is very different, obviously, to
but the trouble is, so David, in sport, we have like football, rugby. Don't they have people like such yourself who can kind of like come to one side and give these people motivation?
It doesn't really work like that. You obviously you get these motivational speakers who G people up in the room and things like that. But if you think about it, they're great. They serve a purpose, but you feel good for about half an hour afterwards, and then you just sort of revert back to type. So I'm more of a gently challenging sort of role, and trying to help people understand themselves better and their motivations for playing the sport so they can get the best out of themselves. And yeah, my job's to make myself redundant ultimately. I'll often work with people for maybe about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then my job's done. I've given them a nice little boost. They've got some tools to take home, and yeah, away they go on with a smile on their face, hopefully playing their sport.
Yeah. Do you think the government are doing enough at the moment for mental health in sport?
That's a good question. That is, are they doing enough? They're doing a lot more than they used to. Maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. I think COVID has moved things forward an awful lot in that, and brought it more to people's attention. Could they do more? Yeah, they could. They definitely could do more, and clubs, governing bodies, organisations could do more too. You'll find some clubs and sports are further ahead than others, and take it more seriously, whereas some just see it as a bit of a tick box exercise.
Right. Okay. Now this is going to be funny. This one. I David. My name is Doug. I am from Sunderland. I am a Mackem supporter. Don't worry, I'm not going to come over to Newcastle and cause a bit of bother. We're all supporters. we're all supporters. Can I just ask you a serious question? I I work in sport too, but with young people. The trouble is sometimes I find with young people they give up quick. Are there any other techniques that I can tell my young people? Are there any?
They give up quick. Yeah, it's true. Hi, Doug from Sunderland. I hope we'll be playing each other very soon, to say the least, in the Premier League as well. Um, do they? I mean, yeah, they do give up quickly. I would agree with that. I think now, obviously, the culture we live in, people want things just like that. And for me, I think educating them around the challenges that they may face and the lighter face that other people face is such a big thing, and often people don't want to like go there and discuss what might actually go wrong, or these difficulties, and fear that it may well happen. And yeah, I feel that that's counterproductive, because it doesn't then sort of mentally prepare people to understand what they can, like how they can actually work through and get through those sort of scenarios. Yeah, I hope that makes a little bit of sense.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sure. Sean just come on and he said, "Hi, Steve and David. Who is your inspiration in your life?"
Inspiration in my life. I think I'm remarried now. My wife Kirsty, we got together shortly after my first wife died of cancer, and yeah, her tenacity, persistence, and resilience with different setbacks and different things that have happened, I greatly admire, to say the least. So yeah, I think it would have to be my wife Kirsty.
Right. Okay. And the last question I've got here for you. If you wanted to meet one professional person in your life, who would it be?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tiger Woods. Being a golfer, he's probably arguably the most successful athlete in history, not far off anyway. And I know some of his behaviors over the years are questionable, but yeah, I'd like to get into his mind and understand what he's done day in, day out mentally over the last 20, well, I was going to say 20, 25 years, but he's my age actually, so 40 years to understand how he's so resilient.
Do you think he's messed up some of his career because he's come big?
I suppose you can say that about a lot of top sports people, where the scrutiny is so difficult. Yeah, it's a tough one. His father died, and we don't know how big an impact that had on his life when things went a little bit pear-shaped. Yeah, tough one. You'd have to ask him.
Okay, guys, thank you very much, and thank you, David. Just stay there for a minute. Thank you very much, guys. Don't forget, I'm going to be back with Beth Penfold around about 5 o'clock. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and if you need to contact David, just let me know, or contact him on Facebook, and you'll get your messages, and he'll probably answer back. And if you're a golfer, really good golfer, give this man a run for his money. He's really good, really good. It should be at the Open. Anyway, it should be down in St. Million very soon. Anyway, okay, guys, bye for now.